feel we found best place where we take refuge. And then I think more than 100 nations on this planet, I think out of India, I think the maximum help to the refugee community. So we always feel grateful.
In what ways has India changed from the time that you came in as a refugee? And I ask this question in two contexts. One is the spiritual context, that the Tibetan heritage of mind training and techniques and practices were evolved in a monastic environment, and the external reality of those teachings now are very different. The people's contexts, their experiences, the lives they lead are very different. So in what ways has the teaching needed to adapt itself to the external environment?
Yes, of course. To some extent, you see, environment also, I think, a very crucial factor for impact in our mind, in our inner world. However, I think the modernity, I think, means some external sort of change of matter in matter field. But as far as inner world, emotional world is concerned, I think today's world, and at the time when Buddha and some other Indian masters, you see, come, I think more or less same. But sometimes I think some of negative emotion even may be stronger now today. So therefore, I think all spiritual sort of teaching basically aiming our emotion, try to minimize negative emotion, destructive emotion, such as anger, hatred, and through that way violence. Then they try to promote or strengthening the positive emotions such as compassion, forgiveness, these things. So all traditions are actually, you see, aiming on that same. Then Buddhists, like one of the important non-theistic religion, so the way to tackle our emotion, inner world, through our knowledge or through our wisdom. So usually I describe the Buddhist way of, you see, training our mind is to utilize human intelligence maximum way through reasoning, through logical approach, then transform our emotion. So of course, if you know the real technique of Buddhism, particularly the elaborated by Nalendra masters such as Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti and Shantadeva, like that, these are master. In a way, it also kind of, what I don't know the exact sort of meaning, but usually I feel something like humanism, some kind of humanism. That means not talking about, you see, some mysterious level, but today's day-to-day our sort of emotional thing. Buddhism, you see, mainly, you see, dealing with that through daily experiences. So that means in modern time, environment, of course, big different than Tibet, but still, internal sort of world, more or less same. This is my view.
In terms of this evolution, one of the remarkable things about you, Your Holiness, that you're into your 70s, you still engage in several hours of personal practice. You still receive teachings and initiations from other Buddhist masters. Yours is a continuing evolution, a continuing journey. Many spiritual teachers have a tendency to claim a peak experience, like under the Bodhi tree, the Buddha, or someone got some great insight, and then the teaching follows. In these 50 years, in what ways do you feel you have changed?
No, not much change. Although I have keen sort of interest or keen sort of serious sort of concern about my own spiritual development. But some way, in a certain, I think, intellectual level thinking, I think last 50 years, and say in the 60s and 70s, I think I developed certain sort of deeper understanding. But then, you see, these intellectual sort of level understanding or awareness also is in need single-pointed mind. That case, my sort of capacity is zero. Firstly, you see, no time for spent, you see, hours for training that. And secondly, my laziness.
Well, I'm not sure that much of the world would agree with you. For once, if I may disagree, and find the courage to say that. But because, Your Holiness, you, despite the enormous difficulties and challenges in your life, both the fact of living in exile, what would normally be perceived as constant humiliations every day, that you plan to go to a certain country because of pressure, visa cancer. There's so much disappointment, anguish, the brutality of the Tibetan people, so many areas of what would normally destroy an average human being such as myself. Yet you manage to radiate so much joy and laughter and energy. So what is that secret? What is that philosophy? What is that state of mind that would help common persons such as myself and our viewers even move in that direction?
As I mentioned at the beginning, they look to any sort of event from wider perspective. Then I think the negative emotion, destructive emotion, or disturbing sort of emotion, usually, you see, they have some kind of target, independent, absolute. There, when you carry more holistic sort of, or say, view, or more totality, totality, what do you call totality? Oh, no. Or a concept of interdependency, then you can see that this event not take place because of one sort of cause, but many other causes. And previously, and also at present, at the same time, you see, due to this fact, this happened, due to that, this happened, like that.